Shanil Parekh and Priyanshi Patel, the SR's Women of Ahmedabad, in association with the Prabha Khaitan Foundation, extend a warm welcome to everyone present here. Prabha Khaitan Foundation is a Kolkata-based non-profit trust that is dedicated towards creating a domain to preserve and acknowledge the enormous cultural heritage of our country. They aim to connect readers to the literary creations of authors, poets, and also showcase talented musicians, dancers, and performing artists through their literary and cultural initiatives. They have an active presence in more than 40 cities in India and overseas. In Ahmedabad, their activities are supported by the Karma Foundation Literary Partner, House of MG Hospitality Partner, and Divya Bhaskar. One of their initiatives for which we have gathered today is the Right Circle. The Right Circle is designed for connecting authors writing in the English language to their readers in India and abroad with engaging conversations about their literary works and their journey. For today's session, we have with us the renowned film journalist and author Padma Shri Ms. Bhawana Somaaya. She is the former editor of Screen and has been a film critic for more than 40 years. Her authorized biographies on movie stalwarts, along with other notable works, speak about her passion for film reporting and writing. Her books are a point of reference for students studying cinema at Whistling Woods, Manipal University, and JNU, Delhi. She was conferred with Padma Shri in 2017 and with honorary doctorate from Jagran Lake City University in 2021. Her latest release is Letters to Self, which is a translation of Indian Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's Gujarati book, Aankh Adhanya Chhe. In today's session, Bhavana ji will be catching up with conversationalist Ms. Shraddha Murdia, who is an SR's woman of Udaipur. Besides her professional excellence, Ms. Murdia holds a great love for literature. Thank you, Ms. Somaaya and Ms. Murdia, for being here. Before we begin, I would request everyone to please keep their mobile phones on silent. Enjoy the evening.
Namaste, Ahmedabad. Good evening, everyone. Bhavana ji, it's an honor to share the stage with you. This evening is a celebration of your 19th book, which is a work of translation from Gujarati poems to English, Letters to Self, by Narendra Modi. Coincidentally, we are also sitting in the heart of Gujarat. Please share with us your relationship, your affiliation with Gujarat and with the Gujarati language.
My relationship with Gujarati language has to be very, very normal and biological because I'm born a Gujarati. Though I look a South Indian and everywhere I go, they are surprised that I can speak Gujarati. And Ahmedabad, particularly in Gujarat, I've been coming since the time I was a little child. And it's home for me. And as I grew older, every time I was in between phases of a turning point. Thank you. Phases of a turning point, Ahmedabad was the place I stopped to pause and ponder. And I do the same things, I meet the same people every time I come to Ahmedabad. I have cream fruit, I meet my jeweler, I go to the sari shops, I go to my nephew, niece's homes, I have dinner, lunch. એ જ ખાવાનું ખાઈએ ને એના જ વખાણ અમે લોકો જ કરીએ અને બધા ખુશ રહીએ.
That's lovely. Coming back to...
So about the language, I'll say that everyone in the family went to a convent school. So we never learned Gujarati language. But my oldest brother taught us the language on Sundays at home from pictorial books, which had pictures of a house, and niche it was written, "Aa ghar che, aa badat che." So, he would cover the picture and he will ask us to read the script. My sister, older one than me, gave up very soon. I think I learned a bit of it, because of which I was able to translate the book. I'm not very good. I can't read Gujarati books unless I'm translating. Magar chalta hai.
So some lovely memories there. It isn't every day that one gets the opportunity to translate the works of one of the most powerful leaders in the world. Give us an insight into how this association came about and if any interactions with him.
I keep saying nobody believes it, but everything that happens in my career is unplanned. If I could have it, I had no ambitions of being a working woman, forget being a professional. Because I, being the youngest in the family, I felt कि कौन माथा कुट करके ये सब काम वाम करना सीखे, कोई ना कोई गलती मैं कर दूंगी और मुझे कोई डांट देगा, एक टपलू मार के चला जाएगा. तो by fluke I became a film journalist. By fluke everything happened to me. So similarly in the COVID time, I didn't want to get into a depression, so I was one day cleaning my bookshelf and I found a book of Mr. Modi, which was called Sakshi Bhav. And there is a friend of mine, he's a writer, Javed Akhtar. He keeps calling me and asking me कि आजकल क्या translate कर रही हो. वो ये नहीं पूछते हैं कि आजकल क्या लिख रही हो, क्योंकि I'm always writing something or the other. But he's very keen that I translate. So I said कुछ नहीं. Because in 2008 I translated a book on Lord Krishna. And then he said, आपको किसी बड़े आदमी की पोएम्स ट्रांसलेट करनी चाहिए जैसे नरेंद्र मोदी. तो मैंने कहा मुझे इंटरेस्ट नहीं है करने में, ऑल द प्रोटोकॉल और सबके परमिशन लो और ये सब में मुझे इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. तो रोज़ वो फ़ोन करते थे और पूछते थे कि व्हेन आर यू डूइंग इट, व्हेन आर यू डूइंग इट. फाइनली आई गॉट फेड अप ऑफ हिम, सो आई फाउंड दिस बुक साक्षी भाव. I did it. I didn't tell anybody that I was translating. Being a good journalist and disciplined to have deadlines, I just finished the first draft in a hurry. And after that, I started editing and sculpting and rewriting and making the rhythm and the beat right. So I pitched it to my agent and it got published by HarperCollins. And COVID was not yet over. And I found another book of Mr. Modi. So I felt कि अभी तो मुझे उसकी writing समझ में आ गई है, तो अभी तो फटाफट हो जाएगी. So I said now that I've got the hang of it, I might as well do it फटाफट, भले ना कोई ले ना ले. And अभी तो वो power में भी है, बाद में क्या मालूम. तो then I did the second book, and that got published too. So the moral of the story is, if a thought crosses your mind, you must not mull over it for too long. If a thought has come to you, then it is the cosmos giving you a signal. And the thought would not come to you if you were not meant to do it. Now, you can do it well, you can do it badly, you can do it mediocre. It depends on your genes, on your abilities. But I can definitely give it my best shot. There I will not cheat. So I am not Shakespeare, I am not Bernard Shaw, and I don't want to be. I am Bhavana Somaaya. So I will give it my best shot and give it to the best of my ability. That I will be proud of it कि इससे बेहतर मैं नहीं कर पाऊँगी. तो that is the moral of the story. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. Trust me. Writing is extremely lonely. And writing is extremely painful. And nobody can help you. It's really like being on a delivery table. You have to push the baby. And you push it, and you push it. When I was the editor of Screen, and I would often see all my team members sitting in front of the computer with blank, and I'll say, what's happening? Come on, फटाफट लिखो, deadline हो गया. नहीं ma'am, block है, नहीं आ रहा है. I said writing is not even a delivery now when you are a journalist. It is a regular menstrual cycle, a daily bladder. You have to just go to the pot, deliver and come out. You can't be saying I'm waiting for inspiration, I'm waiting for this. Just खत्म करो, इतनी कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. हम लोग रोज जूड़ा बांध के बाहर निकलते हैं ना, ऐसे ही करना चाहिए.
That's an inspiring thought. Bhavna ji, you've translated two of PM's books, Aakha Dhanya Chhe and Sakshi Bhav. And your work for about 4 decades has been about the celluloid, an unreal, creative world. How did you manage the shift to understand the pathos and angst, firstly of a man, then a young party worker, and now a prime minister? How did you resonate with his emotions? Did it require any mental preparation as a woman, as an author, as a writer?
इतना अगर मैं सोचती तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाती. There was a mainstream journalist who interviewed me after my first book came out, and she said, were you not scared of the repercussions? Were you not scared of people saying that you are from or supporting the BJP party? I said, no, and I don't care. I'm a film journalist, I'm writing about cinema, and I happen to write or translate the poems who happens to be the Prime Minister. What has that got to do with my ideology of politics, or which party I support or I don't? It was just a spontaneous gesture, an impulsive gesture to translate. I am privileged that I am Gujarati and I understand the language and I am proficient in English, so I translated it. I didn't think about his angst, I didn't think about his pain, I didn't think about his mind. I discovered him in the process of the translation. I was not lost in translation, I found him and myself in translation. My only thought was that he is a man and I am translating it with a female gaze. So I am giving it a female voice, and I didn't want the gender to overpower the thought. I was very, very clear that his thought should remain the way it is. See, there are two kinds of translators, rather one kind of a translator. There are people who are translators by profession and spend a lifetime translating the works of legends or prominent people. Very rarely are original writers doing translations. That is the tough one. Because I am an original writer, so I have a style, I have a projection, I have a way of describing things. For example, when I worked under an editor, he used to say, "You're so sensitive, I can hear your glass bangles in your writing." I didn't know whether it was a compliment or it was a sexist remark, but I didn't want the glass bangles to resonate in his translation. So I put that thought aside and I just did it. And then I am not well versed with Delhi and the politics and how the protocol works and about these ministers. I am a master at the film fraternity. I know how to handle film stars and their egos. But I don't understand the Delhi culture. तो मुझे किसी ने कहा कि आप उनको पहले बता दीजिए और थोड़ा सा दिखा दीजिए, क्योंकि ऐसा ना हो कि मैं एक अलग ट्रैक पे हूँ और वो कुछ और सोच रहे हैं और it doesn't match and there is no marriage. So I think I was trying to get an appointment with him, and once or twice their office called up and said कि आपको मिलना था तो आप आ जाइए दिल्ली. तो I have this very crazy schedules of Thursday screening and Friday I have to do the review. So I said कि नहीं कल तो मेरा screening है, मैं नहीं आ सकती हूँ. ऐसे 2-3 बार I said no to the PMO. Then one day a male friend was with me and he said, "You were talking to the PMO?" I said, "Yeah, they're calling tomorrow. How can I go? I've got a film review." He said, "Bhavna, I don't think you can say no to the PMO." I said, "Oh, really?" I didn't know. I thought I have to do what I have to do, and वो जब बुलाएंगे मेरे पास टाइम होगा तो मैं जाऊँगी. तो मैंने उनको वापस फ़ोन किया. तो I said कि आपको बुरा लगा क्या मैंने ऐसे मना कर दिया कि मैं नहीं आ सकती हूँ? तो उन्होंने ऐसा नहीं कहा कि हाँ हमें बुरा लगा. He kept quiet. उन्होंने ऐसा नहीं कहा कि नहीं बुरा लगा. तो ऐसे कि देखिए मुझे दिल्ली कल्चर की कोई आदत नहीं है, मुझे मिनिस्टर्स लोगों के साथ किस तरह से पेश आना चाहिए नहीं मालूम है, और मैं नहीं आ सकती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे जो मैं काम करती हूँ उसके पैसे मिलते हैं, तो आई हैव टू बी हियर। तो ये सर कि नहीं डोंट वरी, वो आ रहे हैं मुंबई तो वो आपको मिलेंगे। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है। तो मैं उनको वहाँ मिली थी टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन, एंड आई हैड टेकन प्रिंट ऑफ 5 पोएम्स, एंड सम वुमेन हैड कम टू मीट हिम, ऑल ड्रेस्ड अप, मेकअप करके, फोटोग्राफर अपना लेकर आए थे। मैं तो ऐसे नॉर्मल गई थी, और उनको इतना गिफ्ट रैप की तरह से वो प्रेजेंटेशन कर रहे थे, और मेरा तो एक प्लास्टिक शीट था। तो सडनली आई बिकेम वेरी सेल्फ कॉन्शियस एंड फीलिंग क्वाइट बैड फॉर माई सेल्फ कि कोई मैंने ताम झाम नहीं किया था। सो आई सेड કે મેં તો સાવ સાદા તરીકે લાવી છું તમારા માટે, તો કે નાના ચાલશે, આની જરૂરત પણ નથી. એટલે પછી જ્યારે જતા હતા તો મેં કીધું કે I know you're very busy, but please ask your office to get back and say if I'm on the right track, because otherwise I won't do it. So he started smiling. You know, ये इन लोग के सब तरीके अलग होते हैं बताने के। वो लोग क्या बोलते हैं, किस तरह से कहते हैं, उसमें समझने में थोड़ा टाइम लगता है। तो जितना समझो समझो, नहीं समझो नहीं समझो, छोड़ दो। नहीं ताली बजा सकते हो कि इतना सोच सोच के सोचे कि ताड़ी पाड़ी है कि नहीं पाड़ी है।
How sweet.
I am volatile also, and if you see my temper, then you will run away.
Bhavna ji, talking about the book, the translation, and your body of work, you've been pretty vocal about objectification of women. And here the PM writes the book addressing a feminine energy. Would you say there's a strong alignment of thought process here?
See, I have translated 2 books of his. The first one is Sakshi Bhav. He asked me when I met him at the Raj Bhavan, why did you choose this book? I said that I read both the books, Upar Upar Se, and I liked Sakshi Bhav because it's very intense. The emotion quotient is very high. He is addressing to the mother goddess. I'm explaining the first book at the moment, Letters to Mother. Yes. That is, he was an ordinary RSS worker. It was written in 1986. It is a part of his diary pages. Every day he would write a diary, and he would, after everybody went to sleep and after all work was done, and he is talking about his inner turmoil, his anguish, his pain, and he's laying himself bare, absolutely naked, and seeking energy, support from her. And there is this amazing faith that she will hold his hand and take him through the darkest tunnel. And it's devotion. It's very moving. So the story was that he used to write the diary pages, and every 6 months he would light a bonfire and destroy everything that he had written. And one day, one of his RSS colleague, I think, कोई भाई छे, मने याद नहीं हवे, he came to his house. And he said, what are you doing? And he's tearing his pages and putting it in the fire. And he stole whatever pages were remaining from him. And he said to him, the fact that you've written it, there is an honesty to that emotion and the words. And by destroying it, you are humiliating your own creativity. And he stole those pages and he took it home. And then it is said that they were with him. And kahin pe, I think he was friends with Suresh Dalal of Image Publishers in Mumbai. And he must have spoken to Suresh Bhai. Suresh Bhai has his own publication house and is a prominent poet. All of you all know about him. And by that time, Narendra Bhai had become the Chief Minister of Gujarat. અને એમને કન્વિન્સ કર્યા, એણે ના પાડી, but he convinced him and they published it as સાક્ષી ભાવ. मुंबई के भाईदास, am I talking too long for you?
No, please, ma'am.
मुंबई के भाईदास थिएटर में बहुत बड़ा प्रोग्राम हुआ था and I was in the audience. And not in my wildest imagination had I ever thought that I am going to one day translate. What appeals to me is that he could have so easily said that this is what I wrote in 1986 and Chief Minister का उसका क्या duration time ruling था मुझे याद नहीं है, but he could have said कि now I am the Chief Minister, I don't want this to be published. But he didn't say that. And in his foreword he says कि I wrote then what I felt at that time and I write today what I feel today. We are growing every day, we are changing every minute. But that doesn't mean that what I felt in 86 is something that I can shy away from. Maybe I have matured from that 86 person. And Aankha Dhanya Che, that is Letters to Mother, is a collection of his work which Suresh Bhai again wanted to publish. So, एक किताब publish करने के लिए you need a lot of material. You can't do it in 5 poems, 10 poems. So I think Suresh Bhai started putting pressure on him. And then he was searching for his handwritten pages inside books, inside diaries, inside trunks, inside closets. और वो सारी चीज़ें निकाली and उसको ठीक करके डाली. What he says, or what I say about him in my foreword is, he is not a professional writer. You can make out a professional writer. There is a finesse about a professional writer. His writing is not polished. But he wrote it not with the idea of publishing. So his writing is unpolished. And he says in Gujarati, एकदम perfect quote नहीं कर रही हूँ, કે કાચી કેરીનો સ્વાદ અલગ હોય. એટલે એમની કાચી કેરી છે જે પાકી કેરીમાં મજા નથી. And one more thing I want to tell you about the title is that the Gujarati book was called Sakshi Bhav. Now Sakshi Bhav's English translation, nothing can be a literal translation, it has to be a transcreation. So if I say witness, it's very boring. So because it's diary pages to the mother goddess, I made the title Letters to Mother. Now when the book promotion started, and when my publisher called up and said that we are attacking the social media, I said, why is she preparing me for it? उसमें क्या है, डाल दो ना, डाल दो तो. Within, I think, 15 minutes of the cover coming out and the title coming out, nothing in my wildest imagination could have prepared me for the backlash I got. Because when he is a ruler and the leader of the country, everyone who is against him, that is the opposition, whose entire teams are ready, they started trolling me. Now nobody will troll the publisher, so they are trolling the author. I got so scared. I shut the phone, shut the computer and didn't want to look at anything. They are saying things like, because Nehru wrote Letters to Daughter from the Jail, now he is coming out with a book called Letters to Mother. अभी उसने तो टाइटल भी नहीं दिया है. और वो बायोलॉजिकल मदर की बात नहीं हो रही है, उसकी माँ जो गांव में है. ये मदर गॉडेस की बात हो रही है. बट किसी ने किताब पढ़ी नहीं है, अपने आप everybody is coming to their own perceptions. कुछ नहीं कर सकते हो आप. Fortunately, so that's why the second book, which was called Aankha Dhanya Che, the literal translation would be These Eyes Are Privileged or something like that. Very boring. So I said Letters to Self.
That's amazing. Really nice and interesting story behind the books. So we just spoke about translations, Bhavna ji, and you said you discovered something about you. So from writing on movies, film stars, to writing about a politician, how has this whole process impacted you? And has it made you discover, how has it made you discover about yourself?
I don't think writing books on anybody makes me discover myself. It's my daily interactions with people, it's my daily life, it's my own experiences that impacts me and changes me. Yes, I observe them. Yes, I have insights on them. I learn from them. But film industry and writing about film fraternity is far more exciting than writing about
Yes.
normal people.
So you've chronicled the stories and lives of some fascinating and truly iconic individuals. Talk to us a little bit about this incredible journey of yours as a writer.
As I said, I had no definite plan of a career. Everything just fell into my lap. I went for an interview while I was in college, and those guys asked me a few questions and said, okay, we are giving you the job. And uske pehle, while I was in college, I was given a job for Rabi, can you go out and talk? My first job offered me a salary of 100 rupees. And my first thought was that what will I do with so much money? The second job offer again for me as a writer came within 6 months, and they gave me 500 rupees. And when I told my parents about it, my mother was certain that he was a fraud, because she said, I have seen no special quality in you. So what has he seen in you in 5 minutes? I have no idea. And so one thing led to another, and one publication led to another, and the journey just continued. The thing about show business is that you can try your level best, you can break doors, but if you are not meant for it, no door will open for you, and no one can recommend you, not even your father if he is a superstar. But if you are good and you come here, and no matter how many times you decide that you're going to leave this job, this profession, all doors, gates will close, and nobody and nothing will allow you to get out of this place. So I think that's what happened with me. I started as a chief reporter, then I became a special correspondent, then I became an assistant editor, then I became an editor. I just worked for one editor and I became an editor. And one day somebody asked me if I'll be able to do a column for them, Hindu paper, and I said yes. And that's how even one day I just wrote a book, and then one book led to another. Show business is a world of very emotional people. They are very intense, with very fragile egos. And very young you learn that you have to walk very carefully to not tread on the corns. And they are sensitive, they are oversensitive, and they're vulnerable because they're exposed to limelight, and they are exposed to too many traumas also all the time. But once you understand that and you are able to accept them the way they are, I think they are the nicest people, because they have large hearts, they're generous, they're warm, they're passionate about their work. You know, it is not necessary that you are in an intimate relationship or a friendship with them, anybody. For example, just Sanjay Leela Bansali, because just recently on my Instagram, I put a post of a forward I got where at a mall in Philippines, two ladies in garbas, they put the garba music there, and everybody is buying their grocery, and suddenly this music starts playing, and everybody collects there, and they're dancing on Bansali's Dhol Wage and all that. And how normal people who are around just join it. So I sent that forward to him, and he said it feels so wonderful that people whom I don't know everywhere are connected to it. And even like for example in his interviews when I would say, he would say that मेरे प्रोडक्शन में पैसे नहीं होते थे, एंड आई एज ए डायरेक्टर आई एम सेइंग मुझे वो फैब्रिक चाहिए कर्टन के लिए, क्योंकि पिक्चर इज गोइंग ऑन एंड ऑन एंड ऑन, द मनी इज गेटिंग ओवर. सो ही सेज यू डोंट रिक्वायर मनी टू मेक classics, the kind of movies he makes. You require passion. So there's lots to learn from all of them.
So, of course, you've chronicled the stories of these superstars. But having said that, you've been in the company of some terrific superstars, as I say, and seen numerous film sets. Is it true that it's lonely at the top?
Of course, it's lonely at the top because you are there and you don't meet anybody except your family, and very often the family is also exploiting you when you are the golden geese. So they are preventing other people from coming close to you, and I think it was not so lonely at the top earlier because the stars were very friendly, for example, to us. See, what happens is, who can you meet when you're a film star? You can meet the filmmakers, you can meet your actors, you can meet people who are working on the sets, or you meet journalists. And that's how you make friends with them. You talk about, for example, from the late 70s to now, people, all the top heroines, they used to talk to us about their boyfriends, they used to talk to us about their heartbreaks, they used to talk to us about their certain family members. And all these stories are locked in our hearts. They were never published. But what has happened today, I would say from the generation of Deepika Padukone, till 2000 when Rani Mukherjee, Aishwarya Rai, so somebody like me has started in 78, so I've seen the 70s stars, Hema Malini, Rekha, 80s Sri Devi, Madhuri Dixit, 90s Tabu, Kajol, Monisha Koirala, and 2000 Ash and Rani. But I think after the 2000, this whole managers and the managing teams and the whole entourage came. So now they only interacted with the media when it was a new movie time. And that is the time it was all happening through their several bodyguards and everything. So if they were breaking, if they were having boyfriend problems, if they were on drugs, we didn't know. They never confided in us. We were never that intimate. Yes, they used to go on promotion trips. I remember Deepika Padukone had come during Piku to my studio, Big FM, and she had traveled all the studios which are in one direction, and our studio is in another direction. So in fact, when they were coming, it was already very late. So I sent a message to Shujit Sarkar, the director of the film, कि अगर आप लोग थक गए और नहीं आना चाहते हो तो मुझे बिल्कुल बुरा नहीं लगेगा, रहने दो, मत आइए. तो he said नहीं, Deepika and I are both keen that we want to have a chat on Piku with you. So I said all right. And then they both were chatting on Piku, and we were chatting, and I remember I asked that, there are only 3 scenes in the movie where Piku is alone without the father. Because the father is so overpowering as a character. He's all the time there in her surrounding. And I was pointing out those scenes and telling her. And while she was explaining about how she works on a scene, I think I saw her break up. Because it was just a scene that she was explaining. She was so bottled up about that movie and everything. You also see who is around you. I am a much older person. नहीं कोई confide नहीं कर रही थी वो. She was just, I think her guards were down, and she was just she was vulnerable. She was also exhausted physically. The promotion is also very exhausting. She was not breaking down, or she didn't become vulnerable because she was low or something. She was just probably happy that I touched that God to discuss that work that she was so proud of. What I'm trying to say is that ये सारी चीज़ें 70s और 80s के stars के साथ नहीं होती थी क्योंकि we used to meet them so often and I don't think that they were as friendly with their other heroines, but they were very close to us and they would tell us even the problems that other heroine or other director, sometimes director is making a pass at them, sometimes the producer is doing, so they used to tell us. And when we could help them by putting an item, blind item, so that that producer will not do that next time. हम लोग करते भी थे ऐसी सारी चीज़ें.
So, Bhavna ji, is it safe to assume that you have always been a movie buff? And if yes, when did the love affair with cinema begin and how?
I don't think I was a conscious movie buff. I don't think I wanted to be a film journalist. There was no film journalist in the family. There was no journalist or a writer in the family. I had no idol. I was not idolizing anybody. I'm telling you, it just happened off. But I must say that my parents took us to a lot of movies. On Thursdays in school, we had a holiday. So my mother would say that finish your homework and pack your bags for the school the next day. We used to polish our own shoes. We used to iron our own uniform. So ये सारा काम कर लेते थे. My father would always look at the review of a film and then take us to a movie. And I think they showed us a movie every Thursday. And my mother carried homemade snacks in cloth bag, and in the interval when the lights went out, she slowly passed on to all the children. They were bread loaves cut into half. On one side was red chutney, on the other side was green chutney. It was delicious. No nacho, no popcorn in the multiplex auditorium can ever substitute that taste. I'm yearning for it and I'm not getting it. And I think my father was also theatre buff. He used to watch a lot of theatre. He used to also discuss a lot of movies with us. He used to discuss why this movie is critically acclaimed. We were not paying attention to all his gyan, but I think all this comes back to you now. Yeah.
So, talking of your mother, your movie days, Bhavna ji, we would love to know about your growing up years, your childhood and young adulthood. How would you characterize the environment then around you? Liberal, moderate, conservative? And how did it influence you into becoming who you are today?
I think the atmosphere at home was very progressive. I have a double generation gap with my parents because my parents' love story or marriage happened in Karachi. Both were born in Karachi, and in 47 they migrated to Kutch with 6 children, the 6 Brit India born children. And from Kutch they traveled to Bombay, they changed a couple of homes, and I think there were no source of other entertainment. So after a decade, my older sister was born, and then within a year and a half, I was born. So I am actually the 6th child, 6th daughter and the 8th child of the family. And my oldest brother and I have a gap of 25 years. Oh my God. My oldest sister, who's alive today, is 91 years old. And my other surviving brother in Toronto is also, I think, pushing 90. And so my sister, who's just above me, we are in our 60s. So at that time, we were the real youngsters, but today even we are senior citizens. And everybody, despite having 8 children, my father gave education to all of them. I think all of them except one have done their masters, because my father felt that whatever he could not get, his children should get. So he emphasized on education all the time. And I think it was his vision and his push to all of us. And it was not just for the academics. I remember my older sister used to take part in the Lohana Gujarati elocution competition, and for 2 years she won the gold medal. And when I came to that age group, my father said, your sister used to get the gold medal at the elocution competition. You should try for it. And I got into it, and even I got gold medal for 2 years. And our family name is there in the scroll of that Lohana thing. My other sister in Berlin, she was a great sport person, and she has played. She ran very fast, so he used to encourage her to play at the state level, district level, but afterwards she gave up on the idea. And all my sisters, I have grown up watching them, always been working women. They were always empowered. They were financially independent. They made their own wardrobes. They financed their own weddings. There was no gender discrimination at home. There was nothing like કે પાન લેવા છોકરીઓ ન જાય અને રાતના પાઉં લેવા છોકરીઓ ન જાય કે ગાદલા છોકરીઓ ન ઉપાડે. We did all the work and everything. All the girls were the guys of the house. As long as the guys were there, they were there. Then the guys built their own nests and went away. And that didn't take away the femininity. That didn't take away the vulnerability. That didn't take away the essence or the scent of a woman. So I think my parents were really special. My mother was very sensitive, very artistic. She really knew all the castaways clothes that we were not using. She had a way of turning them through her tailoring. She made them into cushion covers. She made them into curtains. You know, she would turn ordinary trunks, put little gaddas over it, put her beautiful saris over it, and make them into settees. So I think that little creativity is there in all her children, and all our homes are beautiful without being designed by designers.
That's fantastic. The Indian film industry has seen some dramatic changes from huge stardom to hashtag boycott Bollywood today. Through it all, Bhavana ji, you've been this fearless, opinionated person, so poised and calm. Even your dressing style has stayed consistently classic. Where do you derive this sanity and clarity from?
The dressing sense, often people meet me and say, but you don't look like a film journalist. You know, I think they expect that I will come wearing feathers and dance like Helen. So I think I would have dressed like this even if I was not a film scribe or an author, because I think this suits me, because this is the way I'm comfortable. I am against any kind of boycott. I don't think that anybody has a right to boycott anything. And everything should be allowed, whether it's film, book, a theatre, play. And it's just become fashionable to boycott. And who are they to boycott? How dare they start these protests? What about the immense effort of the person who has put into it the money and everything? And it's just, you know, people who are having nothing to do, that they start trolling you, and all this begins, this madness on the social media. And actually, if you really follow them and see, they are having 72 followers. So they are not even worth it. But I must say that the film industry has been quite united in all this crisis and stress, and they are quite enlightened and know how to conduct themselves and not react and not waste their energies on wrong people. I want to just share something very special about Hrithik Roshan, because it's just happened yesterday. So in the olden days, the movie screening, the press show was kept on a Wednesday at a small theatre, and there were about 7 critics, because there was only print media. So 5-6 publications hote the, and their critics used to come. Everybody had a light on their chair, and everybody had their specific places. When the interval happened, बाहर एक टेबल ऐसा छोटा सा डाल देते थे, उसमें चटनी सैंडविच, चाय, कॉफ़ी कर लो, go and have a bladder break, and the movie starts again. And the movie review used to come out on Sunday, because the producer association had taken a stand that अगर वेडनेसडे को आपको पिक्चर दिखा रहे हैं तो आप लोग सोच समझ के रिव्यू कर लीजिए. और फ्राइडे को फिल्म रिलीज होती है. Allow the film good, bad, ugly, indifferent to make business on its own steam, on the name of the stars, to make some business, and then for the erudite audience like us who only watch a movie after reading the review like my father did. So you come out on a Sunday with a review, and that's how it continued over the years. In recent times what has happened is that एक छोटा mini theatre में the press show doesn't happen. It happens in a multiplex because there is print media, there is electronic media, there is digital media, there is mobile media, there are influencers. So it's packed to the brim. And when people like my sister and all ask कि एक ही फिल्म को कोई 1 स्टार देता है, कोई 5 स्टार देता है, because the critics reviewing the film are from 21 to 65. So the perspective of every person is different, and their perception of what is to be portrayed is different. Like Brahmastra, for instance, somebody told me, the director, I said, I liked the first half very much, the second half was okay. He said, you know, Bhavna ji, सारे youngsters को second half पसंद आई है और 40 plus को first half पसंद आई है. So what happens is that sometimes they do certain people को बुला लेते हैं because that music company knows somebody or somebody else knows somebody, and दिखा दिया ठीक है, but then there is no embargo. So these people went and put their reviews up. Now suddenly they had called me 2 days, but I could not go because I was a judge at the Dandiya Garbas. I saw the reviews और मेरा ऐसा माथा थनका. So I got so angry with the PR agency, and I said, if you are going to allow other people to put it before Friday, it is completely unfair. And now you have kept the show at 8 in the night. Now Thursday night, 8 o'clock, I watch the film, and this is happening every week. 8 o'clock, which will not start till 8:30. So 8:30 to 12:30, I'm watching the film. After that, I come home for half an hour, I'm thinking, 1 o'clock. Then I make a cup of tea for myself, and I start making my points about what I'm thinking. After that, I have to write the full script. It becomes 2 o'clock. Then I'm doing the ऑडियो रिव्यू. ऐसे लगता है कि ये लोग ऐसे ही मज़ा कर रहे हैं, आराम से पिक्चर देख रहे हैं, इनका जॉब कितना अच्छा है. उसके बाद माई वॉइस इज एग्जॉस्टेड एट 2 o'clock. आई एम डूइंग दी ऑडियो रिकॉर्डिंग फॉर द रेडियो विच गोज. After that, I look at my face in the mirror. It is looking like I'm going to die, so I go to sleep at 2 o'clock. Sleep doesn't come till 2:30. I wake up at 7:30. चाय पीने के बाद I have to put some makeup on my face, wear a sari, and shoot my review. After that, when that review goes to them, they package it and they put it. It still becomes 9:30, 10. So it is killing. So when this happened, and because they did this gadbad, I was so angry. I was so angry with them that I wrote a tweet where I said to the director that you can't do this. If you put an embargo on us, then there has to be an embargo on you. And I wrote at the end, are you reading this, Ritik? Which is tag. The PR agency called me and they said, "Okay, ma'am, please don't do this. Your tweet will make or break a person." You can't break or make anybody. They just say this to chagav you. I don't get chagaved. So I ignored them. They started calling me up. I didn't take their calls. I shut my phone. Ritik sent a message. He said, I apologize for what has happened, and before I take it up with the PR agency, I want to know how else can I facilitate you to watch the movie. Okay? Then we got to know कि एक 5:30 बजे का शो था. So he told me that, ma'am, can you reach for the 5:30 show? Now because I saw the 5:30 show, I was able to catch the morning flight. Otherwise, I cannot catch. Now what happens when I'm coming for events like this? You are constantly changing. People feel कि क्या कर रही है, बार-बार टिकट बदल रही है. बार-बार टिकट नहीं बदल रहे हैं. This is happening because they are not making up their mind on the thing. So later on, I told Ritik that don't worry, I'm calm now. And I said कि if I'm angry, it will not affect my review. And I will not give you more marks also, and I will not unnecessarily attack your film. So I said, if you want and if you feel I have overreacted, I'll delete the tweet. He said, no ma'am, don't delete it. I want to take this as a stand, and I want every producer to know that we have to be sensitized to the film critic. मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है कि आपको सच बोलना है हर हाल में. You have to believe in yourself. आपके साथ कोई चले या ना चले, there are people who talk about me behind the back because of the way you are, because of the way you speak. It does not matter. They are not somebody who are paying me my salary. And I am not winning a popularity contest. I am not joining politics. So how does it matter? तो मैंने ऋतिक से ये कहा कि I am happy that you understood the point that I am making. इससे आगे मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए.
Yes, voicing is so important for the right cause. Bhavna ji, amongst your many recognitions, the Padma Shri stands tall. How do you feel being a Padma awardee, and has life changed since?
Not at all. Nothing has changed. Everything is the same. In fact, my friends make fun of me and say कि कुछ पैसा वैसा मिला या खाली मेडल मिला. तो सर्टिफिकेट है जो मैंने स्टडी में डाला है. It's at events like this where people constantly make it a point to add it as an adjective. My big FM people would put it in their video, Padma Shri Bhavna Somaaya. I told them, please take it out, because it's not a title to be used. It is an honor given by the president. You cannot be using it so loosely for your own self-promotion. At least I would not be comfortable. And but I'm grateful that I got it, because other people lobby for it, and I had never even wanted it or dreamt about it. I thought it was something that happened to other people. So,
well, as we come to end of this near end, Bhavna ji, I'm not nearly as gifted as Karan Johar, but since we have you with us, we'd like to, play a small rapid fire round with you. The only condition is the answers have to be short and quick and honest. What does Bollywood mean to you? In one word. Lifeline, fantastic. Books or movies?
Difficult to choose. Both are wonderful.
Your forever superstar?
Amitabh Bachchan.
A go-to movie?
Pakiza.
Oh, lovely. Movies in theatre or OTT at home television?
Theatre always. It's the first love affair. This is the other woman.
A song you can hear on loop?
जाने क्या तूने कही, जाने क्या मैंने सुनी, बात बन ही गई.
How fantastic.
अभी चुप फिल्म में he has used the Gurudutt music in a different context.
Critic ratings today?
For the present event? For this event?
As you like it.
Critics rating today, I didn't get it. You're talking about...
No, I mean today. How are critics today? How are their ratings?
5 out of 5. No, but I want to say, is the round over?
No, there are some more. Your favorite dialogue?
I don't have a favorite dialogue.
No, okay.
But पाँव चलेगा, पाकीज़ा अच्छी लगती है तो.
And a fan moment?
Fan moment was always and only with Shashi Kapoor.
Oh.
So my sister had a huge crush on him. Can I elaborate on this?
Yes. All right. No, you can actually elaborate.
No, I won't get
if
into
you
my sister's flashback. I will just say that Shashi Kapoor, I used to adore, and he used to adore me. I could make out that he adores me. So I used to wear my best saris, and I would go to him, and he will compliment my sari, he will compliment my hair, he will compliment my eyes, and he will flirt, and I will flirt with him. And Javed Akhtar will say to me, भावना तुम्हारा इस महीने का शशि कपूर का इंटरव्यू हो गया क्या? मतलब ये नहीं कि शशि कपूर को इंटरव्यू करना है, but
It was mandatory.
all the magazine young journalists used to fight with each other to want to interview him. And you know, he was gorgeous, like a Greek god. White pajama kurta, and he used to have a white Mercedes. I'm talking about the 70s, air conditioned when it was not yet had come. And he was doing 5 films a day shooting. So he would do interviews with journalists like me in his car. So he would ask you to reach a certain studio which was close to your home, and then you were sitting with him in the car and he would go to the next studio. So now when I look back, I feel itna good looking आदमी, इतने अच्छे कपड़े, always smelling so good. His car was fabulous, smelling so good. And me in my 20s, middle class girl, ungroomed, nails not polished, sitting next to him, and I used to feel के बराबर match नहीं हो रहा है. So I would lean against the door to be a little away from him so that I'm not so close to him. And he would say, don't lean against the door, Bhavna, you will fall off the car, and I would hate to miss your company. And I used to take it seriously.
So gentle. You've done biographies on Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Mrs. Hema Malini. If you had to choose a star today or an actor today, who do you write it on?
Deepika interests me.
Oh, lovely.
Ritik interests me. There are many senior actors who send me messages that they want me to do. But I am very drained at the moment because after these 2 translations, I have just written a book on my parents' love story, which is spanning 90 years.
Oh.
So I start the story in 1910 when my father was born, and I end it in 2000 when my mother died. So that's really drained me because this is a kind of a canvas I have not explored. It's kind of chronicling your own family.
Yes.
So at the moment, I want a break. But Ritik and I had chatted during the COVID.
Oh.
Okay, because I think everybody at that time was so bored of being
Yes.
at home. But I'm not actively chasing him, or he's not chasing me on a book or something. I think biographies are very boring actually. I'm not interested in knowing तुम कहाँ पैदा हुए थे, क्या किया.
But we'd love to read them for sure.
I am interested in their movies and their characters and how they played, what went on in their heads, and all that.
So there are some surprises that await us. We've come to an end of this wonderful session. Bhavna ji, thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing truly enriching and inspiring stories from your life's journey. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
I want to say in the end something about Prabha Khaitan and about Ehsas women. So I think this Prabha Khaitan Foundation, what they do for the writers is fantastic, because the writer community is always the deprived community, wanting patronage from the rich people. The publishers publish your book and they do a good job of it, but they cannot be holding book events in every city for you. And because Prabha Khaitan has tied up with Ehsas Group and they have a marvelous machinery that works with very attractive, empowered women, and they have their rules, जो थोड़ा खटकता है as an author to me, like to not have the backdrop of my book behind. It is unacceptable, but I'm getting used to it. Then they only call 35 people, which is not very stimulating for a speaker. But I'd rather have a small group that is genuinely listening instead of people who are looking into their mobile phones. So I just thought I should say this because there are many of you who are perhaps not aware of Prabha Khaitan and the Ehsas Group and how they function. And they give you very good snacks and they give you a very good venue and they are nice and they dress up well.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. Any questions? For questions?
Every time we had a question, you would ask Ehsa.
Oh, lovely. Okay. But I'm sure she has lot many stories. But anyone, if Anyone has any question for her?
Is always difficult. People don't want to ask, and then there is this awkward silence. And एक जन पूछेगा तो उसके बाद everybody
Yes.
wants to ask. हाँ जी.
Any specific gossip that you have written and then you regret writing about it?
I was never a gossip journalist. I never wrote gossip.
In the screen or in
Never. Screen was a trade paper. And before that, whichever magazine I worked with, it was always devoid of gossip. So I'm very proud of that. I never worked for Stardust. I never worked for Cine Blitz. These were the papers. But yes, I can tell you about. I was friends with Sarika in the 70s. And one day she and her mother called me home. And they said कि she told Sarika कि ठीक ठीक तरीके से सब बता दो अभी भावना को जो बताना है. And then she went into the other room. And then Sarika had to tell me that how she had split with Sachin and they were not going to work together. So I was very young, she was also very young. Both of us didn't know what was happening. So I understood the whole thing. I wrote it. And a few days later, I gave it to Cinema Journal, which was a part of Free Press Journal. I get off at the Churchgate station, nicely, happily walking to my college. And because I started working while I was in college, and I see Cinema Journal lined up like that on a rope. And on the cover, in bold letters, with Sarika's picture, and it's written, I was never in love with Sachin. You know, I read that and I got so scared that this is seeming like something else than what I had given. Because obviously the editor selects his own headline and puts it. Then I went to the office and I said कि ये तो बहुत shocking जैसा लग रहा है. So he said that he had called me up before that and he said कि did she say that? I said she said it, I wrote it. I didn't know that it was a scoop. So it is not gossip, but it was a scoop. It was the first time breaking news.
I liked it very much. And I read good reviews about the film. I detested it. I mean, it's so extreme. So, what is it, is the audience changed or am I a little archaic or what's happened? Because I cannot believe, such a good film getting such bad boycotts and, Which film? I can say Lal Singh Chadda. I liked it very much. Okay. And the other film is still in the theatres and expectedly making a lot of money. Though I didn't see anyone in the audience. There were 3 people. But it's continuously saying that it's making so much money. So I want to understand, is there something in this or is the audience just changing?
No, it's not a question. Audience keeps changing every decade, every day. Cinema is a very personal experience and a personal choice. And what is aesthetic for me is not aesthetic for you. And what is wonderful for me may not be wonderful for you. So I think that is fine. That's all about freedom of expression. Similarly, the reviewers are also not all the same type. There are some probably who are bought.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. And some who have probably liked the film. Now, because you mentioned Lal Singh Chadda, I want to share that Amir Khan has a very democratic way of working. So when his film is not yet edited, he calls his trusted people from different walks of life and he shows the film to them on a big screen in his office, big room like this. So I have always been called in that group. And I remember watching Dangal and telling him I liked it. I watched Lal Singh Chadda, unedited, and Amir sits on his own editing and improves the film by 100%. And I liked Lal Singh Chadda. Matlab liked, I didn't love it. Now, after that the editing happened and the film released probably after 6 months. When I obviously was going to watch it again for my review, and I didn't like it at all. Because it's not a patch on the original Forrest Gump.
That comparison, yes.
And I got bored. So now I am facing धर्म संकट कि अगर मैंने कहा कि मुझे ये फिल्म अच्छी नहीं लगी है तो ही विल से कि अच्छे कितनी फ्रॉड है, उस दिन तो कहा था कि अच्छी लगी थी. So I had to take a decision कि am I going to be bogged down by what he thinks of me, that she is changing her mind. It's my mind, I can change it as long as I want. And that time I watched it, now I'm watching the final product, I'm not liking it. I am not going to be dishonest with my review. I didn't like it.
What do you think, like biopic of the rocketry?
I loved it.
Yeah,
and I
no
think
doubt.
I was the only one who had loved it so much amongst my media group.
Yeah.
And I remember I was crying so much in the
Yeah.
movie, and it was COVID time. I was wearing a mask,
Yeah.
and my eyes were bloodshot. And when we came out of the screening,
Yeah.
there was a traffic jam because we got to know that Nambiar, na?
Nambiar.
Nambiar
Yeah.
and
Scientist
Nambiar
Nambiar.
sir and Madhavan were waiting outside.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happens is we critics are very hesitant to meet the star after the movie because they ask us how did you like it, and we don't want to say because we don't know. How can you know immediately after watching the film? Because we will go home, think and write it. But I knew I had loved it, and
Yeah, there is-
because they were outside, I went and I could not speak because I was so choked.
Yeah, this end is so touching, no
Yeah.
doubt.
I loved it. I
Yeah,
gave it,
yeah.
I think, my office was shocked. I gave it, I think, 4 or 4.5 stars.
Yeah, yeah. The Sardar Udham Singh is better than the other. Lal
I
Singh
didn't like
Chadda.
Sardar Udham Singh.
No,
It's
better.
very
It's-
boring.
No,
and
it's
dry.
not. But we can watch the historical event.
I think later, right? Next question later.
Is okay? Yeah. Hi, ma'am. Good evening. I want to ask you a personal question. You know, you mentioned that I wrote my parents' love story. So, in those days, your parents had a love marriage?
I don't think love is necessarily
No,
before
no.
marriage.
No. I'm just asking.
No.
No. I'm just
They were-
asking. I know.
My father was,
Yeah.
my father was 18, my mother was 16 when they got married.
No. It
So
happens.
It's their journey
Acha.
and their love over the decades.
Over, that's what you're
and
talking
how it
about.
changed,
Okay.
yeah.
No, but it could have been like a love marriage also in those days.
It was.
So I just asked. And
Parents fix it.
yeah. Same thing with my parents. My mother was 8 years older to my father. In those days they got married. So that's why I asked. And yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I would like to ask Gujarati, please. તમે હમણાં જે સાક્ષીભાવ વાત કરી, સાક્ષીભાવ મતલબ કે એટેચમેન્ટ વિથ ડિટેચ, એટેચમેન્ટ વિથ ડિટેચમેન્ટ. તમે પણ આજે સિને જગત સાથે આટલા વર્ષોથી સંકળાયેલા છો, પણ તમે બિલકુલ ક્યાંય તમારામાં કોઈ ગ્લિટરિંગ સિને જગતની ઝાકઝમાળ છે, ઢોળ કયો તમે એકદમ અલિપ્ત છો, જેવા નેચરલ અંદરથી છો એવા બહાર છો, તો તમે આ પોતાની જાતને સિને જગત સાથે રહીને તમે આવા સિમ્પ્લિસિટી કેવી રીતે જાળવી શક્યા?
અમારા મા બાપના સંસ્કાર છે.
અરે વાહ.
જે રીતે એ લોકોએ ઉછેર્યા અમને,
હા,
એ રીતે આપણે છીએ આજે.
છતાં પણ વેરી ગુડ.
ચકાચોંધની આ બધાથી કંઈ ફરક પડવાનો નથી. યુ હેવ ટુ જસ્ટ બી યોરસેલ્ફ. બરાબર એકદમ પરફેક્ટ ગુજરાતીમાં બોલાતું નથી.
થેન્ક યુ. થેન્ક યુ.
Everyone for your attention during the session and wanting to ask so many questions. Respecting the format of Prabhaketan Foundation's events, we do not allow more than 3 questions. But today, seeing everybody's enthusiasm, we have overshot both the time and the number of questions. The author, if she's willing, she might stay back and you guys can ask your questions when you're getting your book signed. Firstly, thank you so much for coming here today and having such a wonderful evening. Firstly, thank you Bhavana ji for being here. Again, apologies on behalf of the foundation and SR's women right here. We hope you've enjoyed the session. To felicitate you, I would request Abhay ji to please come.
for being here today, please. Thank you, Bhavana ji. Would request Shani to please felicitate Shraddha. Shraddha, thank you so much for coming to Ahmedabad. You were the one who started PKF sessions here, so it is really amazing to have you here. So Shraddha is the SAS woman from Udaipur, and she has initiated the sessions here. Thank you to House of MG for being the hospitality partners, Divya Bhaskar, who is the media partner, and of course, all of you readers for being here today. It has been a wonderful evening and looking forward to having all of you for future PKF events. We have a PKF events WhatsApp group. If you guys would want to attend events and know more about the foundation and its activities, please let Nikki know. She's the lovely, beautiful young girl in pink. She'd be able to give you the contact details and the link to join the WhatsApp group. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of your evening. Shani.